Those cosmic crystallizations, or active elements, which obtain their arising only from the substances transformed by that planet itself, on which that kind of surplanetary or intraplanetary formation is formed for the purposes of the common cosmic Iran-Uran-Numanj. Through the Heptaparaparshinokh arisings, there are transformed, besides what I've already mentioned, also those active elements which obtain their primary arisings from the substances transformed by the Sun itself and the other planets of the given solar system. And through the arisings of the third class, namely the Palor-Madechtian, there are transformed, besides the first two classes, also all those active elements which primarily arise from the transformations of the substances of various cosmic concentrations belonging to other solar systems of our common megalocosmos. The surplanetary flora formation mentioned by me, named on your planet the plant Papavaroon, belongs to the class of Palor-Madechtian arisings, and through it there evolves or involves what is called the totality of the results of the transformation of all other cosmic gravity center concentrations, which come into the atmosphere of this planet of yours through the common cosmic process of what is called ubiquitous diffusion of the radiations of all kinds of cosmic concentrations. Well then, my boy, after these two great terrestrial learned beings, Chun Kil Tez and Chun Tro Pel, had more or less arranged the new place of their permanent existence in the then still quite young China, they began to continue the intentional actualization in their common presences of being particle duty, interrupted through no fault of theirs, in the field of the profession chosen by them for their responsible existence, namely scientific research, in the branch called medicine. They then began to investigate that totality of cosmic substances which still before this your favorites had learned to obtain there from the mentioned Palor-Madechtian plant, and which they named opium, which then denoted in the speech of the beings of that group, dream maker. These two great brothers then began to investigate this opium in consequence of the fact that they, as well as many other three-brained beings of that time, noticed that on the introduction into themselves of a certain species of this mass, every painful sensation temporarily disappeared. They first of all set out to elucidate the action of all its properties, in order perhaps to find a possibility by means of one of its properties to destroy or change for the better that special form of psychic illness which had then become very widely spread among the refugees around them, three-brained beings like themselves. During these researches of theirs, they first of all noticed that this same opium consists of 7 independent crystallizations with definite subjective properties. And on further and more detailed investigations, they definitely constated that each of these 7 independent crystallizations of this one whole consists in its turn of 7 others, also definite crystallizations with their 7 independent subjective properties, and these in their turn again of 7, and so on almost to infinity. This then so greatly astonished and interested them, that they put aside all the problems they had previously set themselves, and from then on, exclusively and perseveringly occupied themselves with the investigation of this fact, which had astonished them, and which they had first constated, and ultimately attained to those results which both before, even at the period of the existence of the continent Atlantis, and at any other period later, were unprecedented for the three-brained beings of your planet. Many centuries after the period of the planetary existence of these terrestrial great learned beings, now Saints Chun Kil Tez and Chun Tro Pel, when I happened for one of my elucidations to become acquainted in detail with the history of their activities, it appeared that when they had become convinced beyond doubt that such a totality of cosmic substances as is named opium consists of a whole range of compounds with 7 diversely subjectively propertied active elements, they then began with the same aim to investigate many other cosmic results, or as is said there, phenomena, which proceeded in their environment. But later, in these investigations of theirs, they confined themselves only to 3, namely, to this same opium, to what is called the white ray, and to what is called sound. Investigating the mentioned 3 diversely manifested results of cosmic processes, they then, among other things, categorically made clear and became convinced beyond any doubt that although all these 3 results, in respect of the causes of their arising and outer manifestations, have nothing in common with each other, yet their inner construction and functioning are nevertheless exactly alike down to the smallest detail. In brief, then, for the second time on your planet, in this still quite young China, after the loss of the continent Atlantis, these 2 twin brothers again constated and categorically made clear that all the separate and, by their exterior, independent phenomena, if each of them is taken as a unit, are in the totality of their manifestations again 7 secondary independent units, having their own subjective properties, that these secondary independent units in their turn consist of 7 tertiary units, and so on to infinity, and that in each of these primary, secondary, tertiary, etc. units, the processes of mutual relation and mutual influence proceed equally in every detail down to the smallest exactitudes and with equal consequences. By the way, during their investigations, they then first defined with separate names the first 7 independent aspects taken by them of the whole result, as well as their secondary and tertiary derivatives. Namely, the first 7 fundamental aspects of each whole they called 1. Erti Pikanon, 2. Ori Pikanon, 3. Sami Pikanon, 4. Ohti Pikanon, 5. Huti Pikanon, 6. Epsi Pikanon, 7. Shvidi Pikanon. And the secondary, 1. Erti Nurachaka, 2. Ori Nurachaka, 3. Sami Nurachaku, 4. Ohti Nurachaka, 5. Kuti Nurachaka, 6. Epsi Nurachaka, 7. Shvidi Nurachaku. And in order to distinguish to which of the 3 mentioned results of cosmic processes the given definition referred, they added, after each of these definitions, the following. For the definition of the nuances of sound, they, noting the number of their vibrations, always added to this word alil. For the definition of the particularities of the composite